Nick, the roller coaster is rolling. Mm-hmm. Are you finally impressed with Josh Allen and the Bills?
Oh, I was super impressed yesterday. I thought that was a great win. They took care of the ball. They controlled the game start to finish. They didn't turn it over. They dealt with the elements. Even when the Steelers put up a fight at the end, the Steelers never, had a lead or even tied the game in the second half. Mm-hmm. They won by 14. Now, listen, I know you guys were not impressed.
I knew it.
I knew something.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I knew
something.
I
was waiting for the but.
There's no but. I found a 14-point win over the 10-win 7 seed. Incredibly impressive. But I know the standard for this show is much higher. The standard for this show is a 19-point win over the 11-win 6 seed was not impressive. I was impressed. Wilds could be impressed. I assume Brew and Coach were not that impressed.
It's good that you brought it up and compared it to the Chiefs.
Yeah, and we can show.
I honestly felt about this game with Buffalo.
Because they did nothing more impressive than Kansas City.
Kansas City was just like I felt with the Chiefs game. I mean, honestly, I felt like
totally
you're
fair.
playing a team that's not dangerous. Now, I didn't say there's a 0% chance they'll beat you, but Miami wasn't dangerous in my view. Pittsburgh wasn't dangerous. You beat them in workman-like fashion.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I felt like, okay, just like the Chiefs, they went out and did what they were supposed to do. The one thing about Buffalo, though, Coach, I don't believe in momentum with them. Like, if they played awesome yesterday, that doesn't mean I'm thinking, or maybe anybody's thinking, they're going to play awesome the next week. If they had looked horrible last night and won, that doesn't mean they're going to look horrible the next game. To me, they're every day, even in the game, you saw various ups and downs. They looked great initially and then let Pittsburgh get back in the game and obviously close it out comfortably. But it was Josh obviously was good, so was Shakir and Diggs. The receivers I thought were good.
So Brew was, kind of nonplussed by the Chiefs, nonplussed by the Bills. I was impressed by both. Coach was disappointed in the Chiefs yesterday because he has such high expectations for Patrick Mahomes. Yep. I'm very curious what you thought of the Bills game yesterday.
Well, I'm glad you asked because I am impressed by the Bills.
Who could have saw it coming?
Because their star quarterback played like a star.
Yep.
We've been talking about how they've won over the course of time, and now they're in the playoffs, and their star quarterback looked exactly like that. 3 touchdowns throwing the ball, 1 touchdown running the ball, which was the second longest run ever by a quarterback, and no turnovers. So that part to me was very impressive. The other part that was impressive is this is a team that's been riddled by injuries. They get A.J. Klein off his RV as he's headed down to Key West to come in and play, and he leads the team in tackles. Not only leads the team in tackles, leads both teams in tackles. So it's dealing with that adversity, and then this is what you want. You want your elite players to be elite in these moments, and he was. And maybe my expectation for Patrick Mahomes is different than yours.
No, maybe
I expect him to be a star.
You're over the moon with 200 yards passing by Josh Allen, so maybe your expectations are too low for him.
But you're playing an absolutely depleted Miami defense.
Guys, can we not?
Josh was better than Patrick yesterday.
Can we not? If we're going to talk about Miami's defense, then we've got to. But again, the question was about the teams, not about the individual quarterbacks. Like, you guys might be quarterback-focused guys.
With the team.
But if we're going to do the Miami injury thing, then you must include this fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers going into this game were 1-10 without T.J. Watt.
Right.
They did not have T.J. Watt, and they're now 1-11. So I understand Miami had more injuries. Pittsburgh had arguably the league's best defensive player, who they, for some reason, cannot win a single solitary game without him there. And so I thought the Bills' offense was much more impressive than the Chiefs' offense this weekend. But I thought the Bills' defense, maybe it's because of injuries, but those injuries are not going to solve themselves in the next 5 days. I thought the Bills' defense, once again, looked like a defense that can be exploited, while the Chiefs' defense for the, 19th straight week looks great.
This guy literally was preparing his family to go to Key West when they called him up and said, hey, can you come up here? He's like, yeah, and he leads the team in tackles. So for the coaching staff to be able to implement him into the defense, for him to be able to play at that level. And I understand that Pittsburgh may not be the most explosive offense in the world. I get it. But when you're dealing with guys just off the street, it's hard to make it all work.
That's why I was so impressed.
Coach, I want to drill down on a specific play. It's a story in 3 parts. First part of the story is Kenny Pickett, ironically, who did this fake slide. Was it 2 years in college? So they ended up changing this rule because it's basically cheating. So Josh Allen last night, we're in the, what quarter are we in there? We're in the second quarter, where Josh Allen doesn't fake slide, but he does hit the brakes. Maybe it was incidental, maybe it was not. But it turns into a long run. Then later in the game, in the fourth quarter, he has a run here where he ends up getting a late hit because he's sliding. Do you think it just rubbed me the wrong way? Where Pickett's thing was obviously egregious and led to a rule change. But how are you defending Josh Allen where you don't want to get a penalty, you don't want to get thrown out of the game, but you have to go after him, especially if he's starting and stopping and it leads to a touchdown?
Well, I do think those 2 runs were pretty different. Like in this run, that's how he cuts. He's not being a high cut athlete, and as big as he is, it's not going to be that smooth when he transitions like that. I think that was a legitimate cut right here, as opposed to him faking a slide. And the other one, I thought he was clearly going down.
Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just by watching this, and it's such a difficult thing for defenders because you're trying to protect the first, stop the first down. You're trying to deal with a running quarterback that has consistently run throughout the course of the game, and then you're being asked to protect him as a runner.
Which you tried to do here.
It's a tough spot for defenders to be in.
I agree with you, Coach. That's not completely definitive. Was he faking like
I thought it was smart. I thought he was slowing down for that exact purpose, to try to deke them off. Yes, I thought it was smart.
And that's the thing.
The long run was,
I thought it was intentional and smart.
It's not fair. As you said, like a defender, and I've seen so many where the quarterback slide and the defender comes in where I thought, man, his momentum was going already. How could he avoid hitting the quarterback and they get flagged? So I think they got to do something because this just wasn't fair.
It rubs. Listen, so it's the same thing. Mahomes doesn't do this, but Mahomes does this flirt with the sideline.
Yep.
Like pretend I'm going to go out of bounds, and then you let up, and then I keep going. Yeah. He scored a touchdown against the Titans in the AFC title game 5 years ago doing that, and so it rubs me the wrong way when there's a rule in place for player safety that then gets exploited. The thing that also rubs me the wrong way is I know people are like, because Mahomes got that roughing the passer call this weekend. That was the second roughing the passer call he's gotten all year. This was Josh's 8th, and this was another one where, and I don't know if you want to review this or what, he tricked the ref into thinking his head got hit. And that's when he slung his head back when it didn't. And so if we're going to have things reviewable and we can now kick players out via review, you know what I mean, if they call a personal foul, then I do wonder if you call something like that, if they can buzz, for flopping, if they can buzz down and say, now maybe they would have said even without.
I don't want to go that far.
I think it's hard to start regulating intent.
Right.
No, but he didn't hit him in the head. No,
a lot of guys try to, do stuff like I don't fault him for that, but you can't. Defenders are helpless. But if you're like, if I hit him too hard and he starts going down, I might get a penalty.
We used to complain about it in the meeting rooms, and guys would complain about it. And Belichick's feeling was they didn't pay $10 billion to watch a 6-3 game. They want offense to win, and they want offense to win consistently. So you're just at the mercy of whatever the call is, and you deal with it, and if it goes bad, it goes bad.
And it's risky in this regard. Yes, it's risky that you can get a 15-yard penalty, but it's also risky for the quarterback where if defenders start to think, oh, he's not actually going out of bounds, he's not actually going down, you might get lit up. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.